I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
That's Booby.
And Jalopy and Ghosty and Red Bull at 11:30 at night so we can do these reviews.
Take it as your own punishment. Take it as punishment. If we didn't miss our reviews, you'd be in bed right now playing Fortnite, watching a movie. Who knows?
It's true.
It's your fault. All right, well.
Or that new series we're going to watch?
That's true. We're going to watch that thing.
No, you weren't supposed to say it.
Why?
People are going to start putting their little...
Spoilers, I agree. Take it out. Take out the title.
Yeah, I will.
Take out the title, yeah.
Okay, so this is David Bowie, which... David Bowie, can you bring up a picture of... Wait a minute, your computer is so slow. I remember my sister working with somebody that had a major crush on him.
Your typing is so terrible. I saw what... There it is right there. I saw what you did to pull up the YouTube thing. You went through like 9 extra steps that were completely ridiculous.
And then you're like...
You literally had to open this in a new tab thing, and you skipped right over it. You opened the new tab, then you went to youtube.com, then you went to the thing, then you put it into the search bar. I was like, wow.
You know what?
It takes so long for this woman to edit.
Yes. Do you remember when you used to say to me, like... Remember, like, when I didn't even know how to turn the computer on or get to the Safari or anything to get on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
And you would be like, why is it taking you so long? And I'd be, like, all nervous. I'm like, these are all, like, completely new things that I'm doing.
You also get completely nervous when it's time to show out in Fortnite.
Yeah, when I'm getting yelled at.
I don't even say anything to you anymore.
You don't.
I don't.
I can feel it.
I just sit there. I just put down the controller.
I can feel it. You've yelled at me so many times about it.
I just put down the controller because I know you're not going to come through for us.
He goes, kill that guy. Sorry, kill it. Please, kill that guy.
Yeah, I used to plead with her. Please kill the guy.
Please kill
But now I've come to the conclusion that if I'm down, it's over. The game's over.
When I get nervous, I start like, I can't line my...
She doesn't even shoot the guy.
I do. I shoot the wall.
You don't even shoot.
And I barely hit the person. But I'm trying.
The last 3 times, you didn't even shoot. I'm like, can you at least shoot the person? I had the person down one shot.
Please.
All right, let's go. David Bowie, Blackstar. Let's do it.
Honestly, is this all him?
Okay, it's Blackstar, David Bowie.
He looked better as he got older.
Blackstar, David Bowie.
Babe, stop telling me what to do. This is almost 2020.
Blackstar,
Go.
David Bowie. Didn't work. Can't hear anything.
Go. There we go.
Is this the official video? This looks like the official video. You can't. It's gonna get blocked. It's David Bowie. It's gonna get blocked.
They want us to see it probably. Can you stop?
It's gonna get blocked.
I know, but there are some where they said, yeah, we know it's gonna get blocked, but right here, this will get blocked. So just mute it, they said. So that's what they're asking us to do. So we put it up as an extra, or I can put it up on Patreon.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So they want us to watch the video.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need you to stop being so emotional.
What are you talking about, Ross?
That's what he always says to me. Okay, ready? Can we do this now?
Yeah.
Okay. Go.
In the villa of our men, in the villa of our men, the center of it all. Your eyes, your
Something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose a meter and stepped aside. Somebody else took his place and bravely cried, I'm a black star, I'm a black star. How many times does an angel fall? How many people lie instead of talking tall? He trod sacred ground, he cried loud into the crowd, I'm a black star, I'm a black star, I'm not against you. I can't answer why, just go with me, I'ma take you home, take your passport and shoes and your sedatives. Move. You're the flash in the pan. I'm the great I am. I'm a black star. I'm a black star. Way off my money. I've got game. I see right so wide, so open heart. It's plain. I want equals in my daydreams, diamonds in my eyes. I'm a black star. I'm a black star. Something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose a meter and stepped aside. Somebody else took his place and bravely cried, I'm a black star. I'm a star star. I'm a black star. I can't answer why, but I can tell you how. I'm not a flying star. We were born upside down. I'm a star star. Born the wrong way round. I'm not a white star.
So
hopefully I can find a lyric video that we can
he
sneak
released that song, and then 2 days later he died.
No.
Well, he had incurable cancer, so he knew he was going to die. I just don't think he knew he was going to die that quickly. I was actually on a trip.
Oh my gosh.
I was actually on a trip. I had just gotten back from whatever, and went to my hotel to crash. I don't even remember where I was. I just remember, and then I turned on. It was actually some Christian podcast thing, and they were talking about.
Please don't tell me they said something horrible.
Oh, of course they did. Well, it wasn't that they said something horrible. It was just the attitude was, like, and it was just weird because I was coming out of a situation, people dying, and then got to my hotel, and then there's these.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like, everybody has different ways of handling the concept of death, But I heard that. And I was like, I don't know who David Bowie is. Like we've done 2 or 3 of his songs. Like, I don't know who he is. Like, I don't know his place in rock and roll or music or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was just like, well, if these guys are talking, and you know who they are. It was that guy who wanted us to be like them. It was that group of people. And like, so I was like, oh. Yeah, so I was like, oh, the people, yeah. So I was like, oh, if they're talking about him, then he must have been, something. But they just had this really, and there was somebody else that had died like pretty close to around the time when he died too. So he was talking about those 2 guys or whatever. Yeah, so obviously some satanic, again, Aleister Crowley comes up again.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
Where?
Well, this guy was apparently he was I don't want to say a devotee, but he was interested in Aleister Crowley.
Oh, okay.
He took part in some rituals and stuff like that. So some of that stuff comes up in the imagery.
I mean, is that what the strange way that these people were like moving around? Was that supposed to be like sort of like a possession or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think at the end of the day, like, it is impossible to. They're telling you, there's nothing we can do for you. You are going to die.
Yeah.
You have 6 months or whatever. And so, like...
It's going to be really scary.
I mean, I don't know. I think...
Honey, it depends on if you have come to the point where you have, like you've accepted, those things, but you have you have an understanding or a peace with what is coming next. But if you're not really completely clear on it, to have, like, a date set that, like, 6 months from now you're not going to be here anymore, I don't know. It's like I said, when I knew that I was going to be having Orion, I was very, very scared because I'm like, you're not doing that with me. Like, you're going to be in the room, but you're not taking any of that pain. You're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
I'm by myself, and death has that same. You're crossing over by yourself. Well, yeah.
I don't believe that.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah, people-wise, nobody's...
I honestly, to me, it's just a continuation of a discussion.
With I see what you're saying.
That's how I.
But if you're
look at that,
somebody who doesn't have
moments.
A clear grasp of it,
I'm gonna go to be with I've had this running conversation for 30 years of my life since my first conscious moment with this person. You know what I mean? And so it's just,
Yeah.
But no, I hear you. Like if you haven't had a running conversation with a person and you really don't know, and I hate saying this way because philosophically, sure, you can say it's unsound, but Jesus is more real to me than your knee on my thigh right now. So, like, it's just not, people say, oh, you can't have knowledge. If I'm in a philosophical conversation, I'll say, yep, you can't have knowledge. You know what I mean? Because I'm talking in the natural world, but I know. Paul said, I know in him who I've believed. So.
That's actually it's actually a really, really beautiful picture when you think of it. Like, that verse that we both like where he says, the angel that has basically guided me all my life long.
My life long, right.
Yeah. when you think that, like when a Christian dies, like that angel that has guided you all your is going to lead you into the, you know what I mean? Like, it's a beautiful picture. Like, even if you don't believe that, like, I can read, you know, myths and stuff from other cultures and be like, wow, that's really cool. So, you know, even if you're not inclined to believe the Christian way of thinking, that is a very, very beautiful picture. That you would have a, you know, a lifelong discussion with an angel that guides you. And that angel obviously is Jesus.
Yes.
And then when you die, he comes and brings you to the afterlife.
But yeah, he's just that familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had that familiarity in so many times in my life when you know, things aren't going good or whatever, and it's always a constant. It's like, oh, you this same guy when I was 2.5, 3 years old, and I had that situation happen. You know, like you're the same. So, you know, but yeah, I it must be a, you know, for an artist, this is the way that he you know. But I lyrically here, this is a pretty obtuse song. And it's talking about like the passing away of one leader and then another one coming to take his place. Because something happened on the day he died. Spirit rose a meter and stepped aside. Somebody else took his place and bravely cried, "I'm a black star, I'm a black star." How many times does an angel fall? How many people lie instead of talking tall? He trod on sacred ground. He cried aloud into the crowd.
Talking tall. I thought talking tall was the same thing as lying. A tall tale?
Yeah, that's a good point. But I think talking tall might there be to be like...
Come right out and just...
Be a stand-up person, you know what I mean? He trod on sacred ground. He cried aloud into the crowd. I'm a black star, I'm a black star. I'm not a gangstar, which is really interesting. Mm-hmm. So my brother had this rap group that he used to listen to. Was DJ Premier was the DJ, and the rapper, his name was Gangstar.
Oh, okay.
G-A-N, just like that. And oddly enough, Gangstar died of cancer. Wouldn't you know it? Well before he did. So that's such a weird... I'm looking at that, I'm like, there's no way he meant him. There's no way. He's like, this guy is like a... He wasn't underground... He was not... Gangstar was not an underground rapper, but... He kind of was. Like, he was not very well known.
Well, yeah, but if you're saying
Premier
that this guy died, he was an artist and he died of cancer, so did this Gangstar guy, then if maybe he's looked, you know what I mean? Other artists that have had cancer, you know what I mean? Like, you never know what somebody's gonna... Maybe that's how he found him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but, you know, the music, you know, when we were hanging out with, was it Head from Korn, he wasn't even talking to us. He was talking to his buddy.
Yep.
And they were talking, they were like, you know, well, I mean, yeah, the music industry is so small. We all know each other, da-da-da-da. So, I don't know. Maybe he did know who Gangstar was. What do I know? Maybe he did really know who he was, and he was giving him a shout out and saying, you know, I have no idea.
What does a black star mean?
Well, stars are pretty proficient in, you know, that whole theology and way of looking at things.
Oh, really?
Like the Thelema stuff. And I'm pretty sure Crowley said at some point, we're all stars or whatever. And so... I think when he's saying I'm a black star, like he's recognizing that his time is up, basically.
What was that book he was holding that had a black star on it?
Well, it's supposed to be a Bible, I'm supposing. Like he's like the leader, but he's going to die. Like and he's saying, this is I'm leaving you with. And to me the book, like he was a pretty
flash in the pan. Yep.
Well, he was a pretty ubiquitous writer. Like he wrote a lot of things, and his lyrics and things like that, he's got this whole like story about a space guy. Like, I got this from a comment when we first did a Bowie review, and somebody like wrote this big, and a lot of people don't realize this, but if you write a very, very long review or a long comment in the comment section, I am more apt to read that.
He's more apt to read it, and I'm more apt to skip it.
Right. If I see like a 2-sentence thing, I'll just skip it. But anyway, somebody wrote this big long thing about like the space thing and this and that and the metaphors and da 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 da. So my point is like it just seems to me that book with the Blackstar was like his body of work, and he's like, this is all I have to leave behind. Like, boom, here it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know enough about this guy to know what he believed about what happened after you die or whatnot. But he's just saying, I think in the imagery of the video was, hey, this is what I have to leave behind. And then, there's a skull, and at the end, like, there's like the ceremony of women worshiping around this skull. And
well, it was interesting because the skull was inside of us, like a spacesuit. So it was like a head, and then it went backwards. Like, then they were doing, like, it looked like you were in the streets of Jerusalem way back.
Well, that's he was like, remember, like I said, like he was like some space traveler or something like that. There was like one song where he was like stuck up in space and nobody could get to him.
Oh, well.
That was a song that we had listened to. That was like way back in the 70s.
And then there was a girl that had a cat tail.
Yeah. That was like way back in the 70s though. So I think that there's a lot of like, the guy was in an astronaut suit and he was dead, and like he was the astronaut through.
But he had all these beads on his face. Like, again, it was like some king from back a long time ago. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I just think that if you were a big Bowie fan, like, you would have made a bit more sense. All the imagery in the video would have made sense.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All of it.
Oh,
like,
that's interesting.
If I look down here, like, this is probably the most commented on song, and these guys are like, breaking stuff down. Like, for example, look what this guy says. The shaking dancers look like basic particles of life when viewed through a microscope. Life itself searches for hope through religion and thus various rituals, even sacrificing an astronaut, conjuring demons, but the universe is steadily descending into death and eventually chaos. The end of the universe.
Well, I saw this part right there.
Chaotic music.
The 3 scarecrows crucified like Jesus, along with 2 criminals, are attacked by a demon. I didn't know it was a demon. To me, that just looked like one of those witch doctors. And chaos plays again while the Tower of Babylon darkens. I didn't see the power, the darkening the tower. I just saw that part. That I was like, when I saw the scarecrows, I was like, it reminded me of crucifixion. But then I was like, am I overthinking this?
Yeah. And then, as Nissus says, Bowie's ultimate existential palimpsest, Blackstar. A good artist borrows, a great one steals. Picasso. A great artist shamanizes the collective unconscious and hallucinates the zeitgeist. For me, the lyrics take it right up to the masterpiece level, an artist still peaking, still on the most interesting edge, still teasing, still leading, yada 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 yada. Anyway, she's probably right though that he's shamanizing the collective unconscious and hallucinating the zeitgeist. She's probably right about that.
Can you say that in what he's trying? Terms?
Well, like a shaman, a shaman is like some sort of like the DMT, ayahuasca.
No,
like
I know
he's
what that
the one
is.
that's kind of leading it. And then the zeitgeist is a spirit of the age. It's our collective, like what we're all
always
thinking.
Forget what zeitgeist means. Yeah,
it's what we're all thinking.
Yeah.
Unconsciously, and so like the job of the artist is to basically hallucinate or visualize, put into visual what we're all thinking, subconsciously or whatnot.
Oh, okay.
And so some of it is gonna look like it's like random, but it's really not, because deep within our subconscious we all get it to some degree, basically.
That's an interesting thought. I like that.
Well, yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think that the role of the artist is. I think that there's about 3 or 4 jobs that human beings have always had, and we've never really gotten out of those. There's a soldier, there's a leader, there's an artist, and then there's a farmer. And so, like, that's humanity. And like everybody has a job, and the artist's job is to reflect back to us what who we are, and who we're not, and who we should be. So. The Villa of Ormond is some place in what do you call it? Sweden, I think, or Norway, some dark place. Oh, and then there's like an eye. Look, the center of it all. The center of all is your eyes. Your eyes.
Your eyes.
So it was a spooky song to me, considering the fact that he was dying.
Okay, well, I didn't know that he was dying, and so that part was not spooky to me. And obviously, you know me, I always make something about a relationship, so that was...
I'm sure you thought it was romantic.
No, I didn't think that was his intention, but I thought, that's cool, and then I liked the thought of Jesus. You know what it says? He's like, we're the apple of his eye and stuff like that. So like in the center of it all is his eyes. Like he's watching us, he's keeping us, he's holding us. And I know that's not what his intention was, but I liked that line in the center of it all, your eyes, your eyes.
Yeah.
But it was strange. It was very, very strange. I do like the sound of his voice, though. And he was pretty old.
Yeah.
But it was something that I really liked about it. And I was like, I would like to hear more. And I would really like to... This is one of those where I would have liked to hear, like, give me an old song and give me a young song. You know, a young version of him and, like, what changed about him and stuff.
Yeah, he's saying, I'm a black star, way up, on money, I've got game. I see right, so wide, so open-hearted pain. I want eagles in my daydreams, diamonds in my eyes.
I liked that part. That part I really liked when he did that part.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't think that this was what he was talking about, but of course, but I'm a Christian, so I keep seeing it that way. So when it said, I see right, so wide, so open-hearted pain. And then I want eagles in my daydreams, diamonds in my eyes. That just made me think of like, that's what I want. Like there's that, like, I want my daydreams. You know how some people daydream about like darkness and death and different things like tragedy and all those things. But he's saying like, I want, like an eagle is always gives us the idea of freedom. And so I felt like he was saying like, in my thoughts, I just want that like freedom. And then he said diamonds in my eyes, and obviously diamonds in your eyes, to my understanding, has always been like, I don't know, like a hope and an excitement for the future and for whatever. Mm-hmm. But then he said something happened on the day that he died, and I spirit rose a meter, then stepped aside. On that one, someone else took his place. Okay, so on that part, I obviously thought of Jesus. You know, something happened on the day that he died on the cross. But then when it said someone else took his place, and bravely cried, I'm a black star, I'm a star. I can't answer why, but I'll tell you how. That reminded me of the Muslims will say that Jesus didn't actually die on the cross, somebody took his place.
Yeah.
So then I was like, wait,
that's where your mind went?
Yes! Yeah, because it's
I'm
right
pretty
there.
sure that that's not what
No, I know that's not, but that's like what I thought of. Someone else took his place and bravely cried. And you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine, like, if that was actually true? That like Jesus did some coward thing like that, and he was like, "Well, I'm not gonna die there, but you,
yeah,
I'm gonna disguise you."
Yeah. Well, and one of the stories is that it was Judas. And Judas,
yeah.
Judas did not bravely cry. Judas was like, "Why are you doing this to me?"
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm a star.
Was he forced to say, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do"?
Well, no, but you know the people.
They don't
make me comment. You know I love me some Islam. Don't make me do that. I'm a black star. I'm a star, which is true. Like
I'm the best of the best.
He was like looked upon like at legendary status from other artists.
Yeah, remember
like,
we went to that show like and like all the other bands were coming out to see. Who was it? You know, Behemoth was out there watching.
Gojira.
Yeah, Gojira.
Everybody's out to see Gojira.
Right.
Yeah, that's more of like a phenomenon type of thing. But like Tom Brady, like other quarterbacks, want to take a selfie with him. Other like professional millionaire quarterbacks want, like he had hit that. Like this guy was at that level. Like it seemed to me. So he, you know, he was a star. He says, I can't answer why. I'm not a gang star, but I can tell you how. I'm not a film star. We were born upside. Flam star. We were. Some of this, you know, I just think is gang star rhymes with black star. Like honestly, like gang flam.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. We were born upside down. That's a good line. That is a good line. We were born upside down because on the one hand, it's true.
Yeah.
We were born upside down. If you're born correctly.
Yeah.
But on the other hand...
and then he says born the wrong way round.
Right.
Right after.
Right. And then he says, I'm not a white star. In contrast to being born the wrong way around means you're not a white star. Like, it seems to me that this is some sort of allusion to the fact that there's something wrong with us from the beginning. See what I'm saying? You were born upside down, born the wrong way around. Right?
Yep.
But among the upside down born ones, he's a star. Right, like, which is the best that you can do, I think. So, On the day of execution, only women kneel and smile. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
Why they're
means.
smiling.
I don't know what that means. Maybe women have some sort of insight into, accepting things, and maybe men don't. Maybe that's what he's saying. Or maybe he saw a woman handle cancer. I mean, because maybe you're at the cancer ward. You know what I mean? And like maybe he saw a woman handling it better than anybody he's ever seen. You know what I mean? It could be. Sometimes guys will write something and it'll be so personal that only they know what they're talking about.
Yep.
And so maybe that's what happened. Like maybe he's contrasting her with himself because he's a man and he's actually afraid. And maybe that's his way of saying he's afraid because he's saying only women kneel and smile, which would mean that he is not accepting death in a way that has peace. But he can't come out and say, I am afraid.
That's brilliant, baby.
And so he just says, only women do, which would mean that he doesn't.
Yeah.
But then that puts him in a group of like literally billions of other men, so he doesn't have to say, I am afraid of dying.
Yeah.
So that seems like that's what he meant to say in that situation. Which, yeah, man, death is, the scripture says death is the destiny of every man. Like, you're gonna die. And sometimes I wonder, like, like I said, I've never been in a situation consciously where I didn't have Jesus in my consciousness.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
So I don't know what it's like to face the prospect of dying aside from him. Like, and I'm not even talking about like, oh, the moment when you like die and then cross over, because I think, whatever crossover actually means. I mean, to me, I just think it's an interdimensional thing. It's not like a bridge or like it's just you're here and then you're there. But to me, it's like when it's time for you to die, God will give you dying grace and everything that leads up to that, and all the things that people are anxious about up to that moment. That's where I feel like Jesus makes his money. As far as like being there for you and all that. And I think, I don't know if it was this one or if it was the other one where we're talking about the angel who's been with me my whole life long. Like, I feel, Jacob was experiencing that. And then it talks about him basically laying down in his bed. He pulls his knees up, pulls up his blanket, and then he's done.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out of here. See ya. And so like that, that's kind of how I look at it. But, I don't know.
Well,
I remember being a kid and reading that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That was and just, having Jesus say, yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's going to be like that. You'll be good. Oh, okay. And I just kept on reading.
It's interesting because you have all these great memories of like reading the Bible as a kid, and I don't have a bunch of good memories of reading. I have a bunch of good memories of talking to God in prayer. And I had a certain understanding of who he was, the familiarity, which is probably why I'm always like, oh, the Holy Spirit and stuff like that. But then the Bible itself, a lot of stuff confused me or scared me or made me think, oh God, that's a problem.
Well, yeah.
And it wasn't even like, I had never actually, believe it or not, I was never like, thought it was a big problem, his judgments on the world. Like, I didn't think that was a big deal. I mean, he was God, so that didn't faze me. But, the sacrificial stuff and him only wanting perfect things and stuff like that bothered me. Because I was like, well, I'm not a perfect person, But I think that you're right in the sense of, or if this is what you're saying, that when we die, so when we're alive, like we talk about a person is made up of body, soul, and spirit. So you have your physical body, you have your spirit that interacts with supernatural things, and then your soul, which is like your personality and your emotions and stuff like that. And I feel like that, when somebody is a spiritual person and they're connecting with the supernatural, then they know in a way that there's a difference between their body and their spirit. And then there are some people that don't ever do anything with the spirit. And so it's just kind of like very small and very completely unfamiliar. And, maybe even they say that it doesn't exist. I don't know. There must be people that don't believe that there's a spirit in us, or is there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it's very strange, but I was thinking like, if you're accustomed to communicating in the spiritual realm, then when your body dies and your spirit goes, like you may feel more comfortable in that situation because you've been so accustomed to like engaging your spirit in your physical body. So when your physical body kind of like dies and you go, like, it might be more of like, okay, now, like, maybe it does feel, people will be like, oh, they're free now, they're released. Maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe you do feel a certain level of freedom because you're no longer bound to this body of death or whatever you would call it, Maybe there is a certain freedom that comes. And then obviously Jesus gives you a new body, but, and it's the new body is geared to match the spirit, where this body I don't think is so much. Because it's not going to live on, like the spirit is going to go on forever. This body doesn't. But.
Yeah. No, yeah. So, it's a very interesting, it's very interesting to watch artists reflect on.
How uncomfortable. How uncomfortable if you don't grasp or maneuver anywhere in the spiritual realm when you die to suddenly be like engulfed in the spiritual.
Yeah, but again,
how weird would that be?
Again, I don't believe that people live because we're either right or we're either wrong, and I believe that we're right. So that means that nobody exists in a purely naturalistic world.
No.
So they've always it's impossible not to live in the spirit. It'd be like a fish denying that water exists.
Yeah, but if you're not used to like actually engaging at that level and you don't even really feel like it even exists, and then all of a sudden you're engulfed in that reality.
The thing is, like, I'm not sure that's like the people saying that it doesn't exist to me are people that are engaging at probably a deeper level than most people, which forces them to say nothing is really out there. Right? So like what I'm saying is I'm not sure that I believe that there's anybody that like is a legitimate convinced naturalist who just, this is all there is. Because if then there's no reason to make art and all the metaphysical things that all the beauty and all what he. Yeah. So I just don't.
Yeah.
Just not convinced. Just not convinced that anybody, like, I don't think anybody's gonna be like, oh, I can't believe any of this. Like, I've asked a lot of my atheist friends, like, if you died and, like, I actually ran into God, like, would you be surprised? And I've never heard any of them say, like, I would be completely blown away.
Right.
They've never said, like, I would be completely, I can't believe there's a God.
Watch the comment section. People are going to say, they're going to come out of the woodwork.
Right. Yeah, I just,
Yeah, I mean.
I just have a hard time. Because if we're right and there is an actual spiritual world, then how, you cannot cut off reality. So if you're a fish and you're subsumed in water, you can say you don't believe there's water. That's fine, but that doesn't mean that the fish is not experiencing the water. You're subsumed in it from head to toe. What do you mean? And spirit was here before matter, so it doesn't matter to me what you say. You're subsumed in it.
Yeah, but you can be subsumed in something and not be engaged in it.
How is that possible?
Because how can you, like, if you're not engaging in the spiritual realm, and like I said, like, I think that when we die and suddenly we come face to face with God, there's going to be a familiarity, and I think that for some people there's going to be a lot of fear because they have not engaged with Him as a friend, like He.
Well, that's a separate question.
And can you imagine how terrifying that is, that you're not engaging in a spiritual world when you're in your physical body?
What I'm saying is the denial of the water that you're subsumed in is a form of engagement. It's just a negative.
Yes.
It's just a negative engagement.
I see what you're saying, but I disagree with you. I don't think that they're comparable. I think that if a fish is subsumed in water, and then you take that fish out of there, and then you take him out of the fish tank and you throw him in an ocean, I think he's gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is much bigger than I thought. But at the same time, it's still the water. But I think that a person who doesn't engage, I don't think that you can go your whole life without engaging in spirituality.
I'm not saying they're not engaging. I'm saying their denial of the water is a form of engagement. I'm saying they're feeling it so deeply that they have to try to deny it so that they don't have to deal with the implications. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God. I don't know.
Which means to me, I think a lot of my atheist friends are actually more spiritual than your regular run-of-the-mill Sunday Christian. Like, that's not even a question to me. It's not even a question. Which explains why they're more generous it explains why it explains a lot of things. Like, I've had to sit and rethink a lot of things in this last year and a half. Like, how in the world are these people more generous and more Christ-like than the once a week Sunday Christians? So, like, to me, the once a week Sunday Christians people are people who are going to be very, very surprised when they meet the Ain't Self, but not. I don't think my atheist friends are. I think they're going to have a much better time and be a lot more familiarized with what's happening than a religious Sunday Christian.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with that, because I think that a religious person, no, I'm not just saying a Christian, I'm saying a religious person, religious being somebody who, like, they are doing something because they're trying to gain some sort of level of spirituality. They're not actually engaging God like the way that so how would you explain it so that way? Well, I know that we know what we're saying.
Sunday Christian is a person who goes and it's just something that you do, and okay, I'm a Christian, and it's just nominal. There's nothing heart. There's no heart about it. They're just doing what they think they're supposed to do, and all the rest.
Well, I think that person would be very surprised and uncomfortable when they first meet God.
Right. What I'm saying
because
is
they might be very
is going to be way more surprised than an atheist.
I'm not talking about surprise. I'm talking about comfort level.
Same thing. I think that person would be way more uncomfortable than the atheist would be, is what I'm saying.
You could be right, because the only reason why I think that you might be right on that one is because, like...
You think Nergal... You think
Stop,
if Nergal...
let me finish.
Go ahead,
bring that up, because you have a better memory. I'm thinking, like, when... So, for instance, we're doing the baby shower for Lo.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if you guys want to participate in that, the link will be in the description of this video. She got she didn't know she was pregnant, and then the baby was born. So super exciting, and also like whoa.
Yeah.
So we're doing a baby shower for her, and she's got some items on there that she's still in need of. So if anybody can help out, that'd be great. So remember, I was talking to our friend on Patreon, and he was saying that, like he was like not looking forward to Christmas, and he wasn't in the Christmas spirit, and then he was saying that he took part. He was like, he bought some stuff for Lo, and he did a few other things. He was really encouraged by that.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times, I think I did a lot of like really, really good things. Like when I was like a teenager and into my 20s and stuff like that. Like I was like doing some legitimately like really good things. But I don't know necessarily, like now that I look back and I've been around more people and I've experienced more things, I'm like, like there was this little girl that had cancer and she was dying, and like we all like banded together to like redo her apartments, that way she could be warm even if the electricity went off, and like there was all these different things that we did, and I would go and I'd visit her and stuff, and like, obviously in my heart I wanted to visit her because, I wanted to be there for her, but there was also this like, I think there was like this part of me that was kind of like, I don't know, a little bit like works, like wow, that's really good, I want to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people would ask like, well, what did you do today? And, I wouldn't like make it sound like, well, I'm a very amazing person, but you know what I mean? Like that's what I was doing. So, we just talk about different, but at the same time, the way like our buddy on Patreon that like gave to Lo, like I don't feel like that he was doing it because he wanted any sort of props. Like it seemed like it was just, you know what I'm saying? Like that excitement of just participating and stuff. So that's why I'm saying I agree with you on that element, because I think that a lot of times, I can't speak for all Christians, but I think a lot of times Christians kind of do something like begrudgingly because we feel like we have to. So you're like, I don't want to, but I believe I'm supposed to do this. Where if you don't feel like you have to do something, then you can kind of do it out of just you feel to. Oh well, here you go.
I mean, I think
so. They have a leg up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, religious people are very good at finding ways to, dodge the spirit of God through their religious.
Yeah.
work.
No, I agree with that.
Whereas an atheist doesn't see him coming. So
yeah.
Our friend at Patreon the Holy Spirit was obviously there in that store with him and was there.
Yeah.
And this guy didn't have any categories to bullshit his way out of the Spirit of God, whereas religious people are professionals at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, like, I think Caiaphas had a very uncomfortable meeting. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think that, you hear about people in Caesar's household at the end of Philippians and all this. And they were the nasty atheists or whatever. And yet they're up there right now. And Caiaphas, a super religious evangelical, is not. So that's all.
That is such an interesting thought. Yeah,
that's all I'm saying is that they don't have any guards up and they have no way to.
You're saying they've interacted with the spiritual realm where they didn't necessarily realize they were.
They've done it their whole
lives. And so then when they cross over, they might.
Yeah. Now, like I said, the only way to God is through Jesus, but there are more ways to Jesus than through us. Thank God.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's a very it's obviously a very complex idea, but there are atheists who if I got a call that they died,
you'd be very confident.
I would be way more confident that I would see them again. You know how you are. Than some religious people that I've met. You also know who you are. So
you're not watching this because you're too religious.
So so there it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
Yep. Well, interesting. Holy moly, this is an interesting conversation for this one.
Shout out to the big homie though.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah, he made his peace with the Ein Sof before he met him. Inshallah.
Yeah. So what do you give this one?
I think we're gonna have to make 2 copies of this, right? We're gonna have to make a Patreon copy that
has the actual video in it.
Right, has the video because the actual video, and then the other one. I think the video. This is one of those times when I really said, because they went out of their way to say, watch the video. I really wanted to okay, I'm gonna watch this video. You know what I mean? And so the video was. I think the video was meant to be disturbing, and it was a very disturbing video for me.
Yeah, it was
especially
strange.
Understanding the historical context.
Yeah.
Because literally, he died 2 days after the song came out. So, I was extremely disturbed by the video, but I think it's also probably the most engrossing video I've watched probably this year. You could not keep your eyes off of it. I was, I had the lyrics up, and once in a while I'm I gotta keep track of what he's saying because I'm OCD about lyrics, but it just it was very arresting. So
yeah, I agree.
On the strength of the video, and I also know, here's the other thing that's crazy, is I also know that there are lyrical and visual cues from his entire body of work that I know, because I'm uneducated in Bowie, that I missed.
Yeah.
And so because of that, the thing's getting a 10 for me.
Oh, I was going with a 10 as well, because not only just it's not just what something sounds like, or like you're saying visually or lyrically, but also I think the type of conversation that a song drums up is also that speaks to the greatness of the song.
I agree.
If you get the song and you're yeah, it was good. And there's not really much to say, but this is a song that I could just talk for. I know that this is a very long review. We're almost going on close to an hour on it, but
type
it was
45 if you got to the end.
But it was still interesting, and so for that I'm giving it a 10.
Did we give somebody a prize for that or something like that?
We did one time. Yeah.
What did we do? Was it the first Behemoth one?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. We've
I
done.
wouldn't mind giving away a shirt.
Well, I mean, do whatever you want, babe.
All right,
make sure you get that shirt to them.
Type 40. We did. With the Dan guy got.
Oh,
a shirt.
I know, but.
Type 45 if you listened all the way to the end of our review, and inshallah.
So what? The first person to type 45?
No, not the first person.
So you're gonna pick one at random.
I'm just gonna randomly pick one. I doubt very highly very many people are gonna wait till the end of this. This is going on an hour.
Honey, you always underestimate people.
No, it's not underestimating people. I'm estimating the fact that they have lives outside of our silly channel.
Yeah, but a lot of people just play us while they're at work, or they're getting their coffee in the morning.
45. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.